Everyone, it's Sami from Sami's Sweet Life, and I am sharing an Oreo cheesecake recipe. I am using a recipe from my baking addiction, and I will link to that below. So here I am just working on making the pie crust. You will need 20 Oreos altogether, 12 for the crust and then 8 for the actual cheesecake part. Well, I had messed up and I had used 8 for the crust and 12 for the cheesecake, and so I go back and add more to my crust later, but it takes 12 Oreos pulsed in the food processor until they're fine crumbs, and then I will also need 2 tablespoons of melted butter to make the crust. I'm going ahead and pulsing all of my Oreos. These are the ones that are supposed to actually go in the cake, so I left them a little bit coarser, but we found that we don't like the big giant chunks of Oreos in our cake, so I go ahead and pulse them pretty finely. So here I am making the crust. I just mix the butter and the Oreos together in the actual pan that I'm going to be making this in. I will link to this actual springform pan. It is the perfect size to fit in the 6-quart Instant Pot. It'll also fit in the 8-quart because the 8-quart's bigger, but it's not entirely 100% leak proof. You do need to put some foil on the bottom, and I'll show you. I don't end up putting the foil on the bottom just to show you guys it's not exactly leak proof. So once I get it all mixed up, I go ahead and press out my pie crust, and then we'll work on the filling. The filling, you're going to need 2 blocks of cream cheese, or 16 ounces total. I did a grocery pickup and this is what they substitute. They gave me the tubs. I was worried that the cheesecake wouldn't set up because it's a little bit different, but they ended up working just fine. So you could use the tubs too if you want to. These are more expensive than the blocks I found, but that's just what they had in the store. You do want this room temperature. This is one of the most crucial aspects of making a cheesecake I found. If you try to cheat and use not room temperature cream cheese, you're going to have lumps in your cheesecake. So make sure you just set it out ahead of time. So I go ahead and scrape out both containers. Then I go ahead and whisk this with the mixer for a little bit to make sure that it's nice and smooth. I want to make sure that the cream cheese is smooth before I start adding things to it. It is room temp, so it should already be pretty smooth. And then I go ahead and add my 1 cup of sugar. And then I go ahead and mix that really well, and then I add 1 egg at a time. After the eggs are well combined with the cream cheese mixture, I go ahead and add my 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and in this case I'm using half and half. You can use heavy cream, half and half, and in a pinch I've also used just plain almond milk for this as well, so you can really get away with whatever. I am also supposed to add 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract, but I just add 1 teaspoon because I find that the one I have is really strong. And throughout these steps, I am scraping down the sides to make sure everything is nice and combined. You will see I have little hands helping me at this step. By this point, Olivia is up here helping and taste testing everything. Once this is all well combined, I go ahead and add in my 8 crushed Oreos. It says coarsely chopped, but like I said, I really like the little tiny pieces of Oreo throughout the entire cake. So I make mine really finely chopped. The one thing you'll notice is since mine are so finely chopped, the whole cheesecake has not a beautiful white appearance with the big chunks of Oreo in it, but we just find we like the texture better, so it is kind of like a grayish color rather than the pretty white cheesecake. Once the Oreos are mixed in, I go ahead and transfer all of my filling to my springform pan. I've already got the crust in the bottom, so I just go ahead and transfer everything. I'm using a spatula so I can scrape out all the goodness, and I try to smooth the top, but then Olivia steals my my spatula. Then I go ahead and top this with some foil, and I'll show you how I set up my Instant Pot. I go ahead and line my Instant Pot with the trivet, and I put the sides up so I can transfer my cheesecake out of the Instant Pot when it's all done. I have my little side handles up. I add about 1 cup of water down at the bottom, and since my springform pan is not completely sealed, I just want to make sure that the water is not going above those wires on my trivet. And then I set my cheesecake gently inside, set my Instant Pot lid on, seal the vent, and then set it to 40 minutes on high pressure. Once it's done cooking, I leave it in there for 20 minutes. I let it come down from pressure for 20 minutes. There you go. You can see it. The light's shining in really harshly right now. I pulled the thing over to venting and it barely hissed out any pressure. So it mostly came down all by itself. So let's take a peek. I've got some oven mitts so I can lift it out using the trivet. All right, so let's see if I can lift it out here. just want to be kind of careful with it, especially I have a little bit of water on the top of mine. So I'm going to try to let that drain a little bit. I'll show you guys what happened last time with it. And it looks like it happened again. Some of the butter seeped out of the bottom, so my thing's not entirely non-stick, it's fogging up. But you can see the butter in there leaked out. So I thought, you know, I would follow it by the books for this video for you guys because it's exactly how I made it last time. It came out perfectly. And I thought maybe next time I would do a little bit less butter so that that wouldn't happen, or potentially seal up the bottom of it so it doesn't leak. So there's the cheesecake. It is still really warm because it just came out, so I'm going to let this come to room temp. I'm just going to have it sitting on the counter until it cools off completely, and then I will cover it and stick it in the fridge. And there it is. It has kind of gone down a little bit, so I'm feeling it. It's close to room temp now. It's been about, I don't know, 40 minutes of sitting out, so I will pop this in the fridge. Okay, it is cheesecake time. There's what it looks like. I'm going to cut around the edge and then pop it out of the springform pan before I slice it. So there it is, and let's go ahead and slice it up. Olivia is really excited.
Mama, no.
Did she sneeze?
No.
Sounded like she sneezed.
No.
Yeah. I can get it out of there. Pretty good. The first slice always seems like it's hard to stick it out.
Crust. Crust?
Yeah, Olivia, you like the crust. I'm going to get a piece for Mama, and a piece for Dada, and a piece for Olivia.
I want to go to the table.
Okay, go take it to the table. Hey, wait. Fork.
Okay.
Libby's running away with her cheesecake. And there is what it looks like. I crushed my Oreos really finely this time, so it does end up turning the whole cheesecake, you know, the Oreo color. But it looks and tastes good. I licked my finger off. So I definitely call this recipe a win. We will be using this one again and again. It's just such a good, easy recipe. And so far, both times it's turned out perfectly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.